Have you seen this? Nope. But we might watch it because I'm going to eat real quick.
Few months, he posts this tweet around the Super Bowl, and he notices that this tweet gets less engagement than the tweet by President Joe Biden. Elon does not like this. He calls an urgent meeting and tasks 80 engineers to quickly rebuild a version of the algorithm that will allow his tweets to be artificially boosted by a factor of 1,000. I was kind of skeptical on how sensational it was reported, but through my conversations confirmed that this actually went down. Like, the old Twitter was not built to artificially boost one account. And Elon, the free speech guy, was like, I need you to boost my account because it's not getting as much attention as the president. And the 80 engineers did. So a few months after buying the company, Elon now has super algorithmic power, and he uses it to start to amplify certain people. So I know what you're thinking. Johnny, you just disagree with these people, and so you think that it's bad that Elon let them on, but really, free speech is about letting everyone talk. Yes, absolutely, that is true. And yet, Elon uses an artificially amplified voice to prop up a very specific type of voice on Twitter, to amplify ideas, extreme ideas, harmful ideas.
Didn't you have grievances with this guy at one point? Yeah, I just feel like the research is not as in-depth as I would appreciate, and I feel like he gets some things wrong, but I don't know if he's like bad faith.
Not just to liberals in San Francisco, but ideas that we as humanity recognize are bad ideas. And now someone with a massive megaphone has control on how big those ideas can get. Even Bill Maher, the Elon fanboy.
There's a very few people who actually make change happen. You are one of those people.
Even he could not understand why Elon was doing this.
I understand why you wanted to have a platform where you have free speech, but why then embrace the worst people on it?
And then Elon isn't totally consistent about this. Like in the case of Alex Jones, who spreads horrendous conspiracies and misinformation to a lot of people. When asked why Elon didn't let him go back onto Twitter, he said no, saying that he had no mercy for anyone who would use the death of children for gain, politics, or fame. He did eventually reinstate Alex Jones after running a poll, but you start to see that he'll reinstate anyone unless he personally takes issue with their views or what they said. What's puzzling to me is that this isn't free speech absolutism. It's not say anything you want. Musk's new Twitter then starts banning and suppressing Substack links. Substack, the place where independent journalists write. Musk made the change where you can't comment or like on anything that has a Substack article, and you can't embed tweets in your Substack article. That doesn't feel like free speech to me. Musk then decides that the word cisgender is a slur on Twitter and threatens to ban people who—
Oh, I just saw that. Apparently if you type cisgender, it's flagged as a slur on fucking Twitter. Is that actually true? I haven't tested it myself, but I've seen enough people say that I'm guessing it's true.
who use it too much. Is that free speech? He then starts banning journalists who criticize him, though he did reinstate a few of them after a vote. And then starts suing media watchdog organizations, like the Center for Countering Digital Hate, trying to silence them for criticizing the new Twitter. Musk, of course, lost, with the verdict coming out saying that this lawsuit was basically about trying to silence criticism and deter others from criticizing his company.
He's someone who is willing to use his enormous wealth and power to silence people.
Like, this is such clear anti-free speech behavior. When Twitter users organized a protest against making users pay for a blue check mark, he banned that account. And this is what's so mind-bending. Like, I swear he's trolling us here. He says that he's obsessed with free speech.
You know what people should do? Somebody should create a network of bots or whatever to quote tweet the Libs of TikTok account and continue to post all of Elon Musk's private jet flights. Didn't he ban that account? There was an account that just tracked the, I don't know if it's through air traffic control or where it's published at, but they just posted every time his plane landed and took off from somewhere. And I think Elon permabanned that account because he said it counted as doxing. If that counts as doxing, how the fuck is Libs of TikTok allowed to operate with his blessing? That should be, you should just, yeah, people should quote tweet that and keep harping on that over and over again.
Speech, but then immediately after taking it over Twitter, he demonstrates an extreme hypocrisy for that very point. And I secretly think he's doing that so that we are talking about it right now. I don't think it was ever about free speech. I also think that when he posts political propaganda ads, like this conspiracy video that says that Democrats are letting immigrants in to turn America into single-party rule and has almost 100 million views. I think he's doing that not because he agrees with this factless piece of propaganda, but because he loves to rile people up. Though maybe he does agree with it. I don't know. Either way, he has built a platform that gives him the biggest megaphone and suppresses people that criticize him. That is not free speech. Okay, but let's move on, because free speech was just one of his 3 major motives. What about this argument that Twitter is infected with liberal ideology because it is based in San Francisco? Luckily, we have data. This was a great study, very thorough. Algorithmic amplification of politics on Twitter. It's a study from before Elon took over. They conducted a long-running, massive-scale randomized experiment where they looked at a huge number of tweets from 7 countries. And they found that in 6 out of the 7 countries, including the United States, that, quote, the mainstream political right enjoys a higher algorithmic amplification than the mainstream political left. They saw this over and over. Oh, and also a really interesting side note here is that they found that Twitter actually doesn't amplify far left or far right political groups more than moderate ones, which is a myth that I believed until I read this study. But the whole point is that old Twitter did not have a liberal bias. If anything, it had a conservative bias. This study is very robust proof of that, despite Elon's theory that Twitter being in San Francisco infected it with a liberal bias. Go to the sources and read the study for yourself if you want to poke into it. If there's anything wrong with it that I'm missing, please tell me. But it seems like pretty damn solid proof to me. Okay, but what about the last critique? And this is a big one. Musk believed that Twitter was being censored by governments, and Twitter was letting them do this.
Uh-oh.
And guess what? That is actually true. Upon taking over Twitter,
Turkey time.
Musk cracked into all of the internal communications and found a bunch of emails that showed how Twitter had banned and suppressed information that it deemed harmful and dangerous, but that they did so sometimes with a political bias. You can see things like Biden's team asking Twitter to review these tweets that they didn't like. Yes, governments around the world can ask Twitter to take things down in their tweets that they didn't like. Yes.
Wait a second.
Government things like...
Does anybody... I thought that we checked these tweets at one point in time, and I thought all of these tweets were like Hunter Biden cockpicks. Is Johnny going to clarify here, or...
Biden's team asking Twitter to review these tweets that they didn't like. Yes, governments around the world can ask Twitter to take things down in their country that they think are breaking the law or that are harmful to national security. And this happened on both sides. The Trump White House asked Twitter to take things down as well. But this reporting did reveal what looked like a lot of left-leaning bias.
Oh, unless he's about to 180 this whole thing, that is such a horrible summary. The only thing that the Biden White House passed on, my understanding, and it's probably true because if it wasn't, conservatives would be screaming this from the rooftop, was for personal information that had been released in the form of generally dick pics of Hunter Biden. Trump, however, made an explicit request for Twitter to take down it was a journalist lady who literally had said, she called Trump an asshole or something. Fuck. What's the name of the person? Josiah would know it. It was Chrissy Teigen. Then President Trump asked Twitter to take down a tweet from model and television personality Chrissy Teigen, or Teigen, in 2019 because he saw it as derogatory. And the tweet was, do they list it in here? LOL, what a pussy-ass bitch tagged everyone but me and honor Mr. President. The Trump administration sent in a request for this tweet to be removed. Insane. And unhinged. Because it hurt his feelings.
in censoring certain highly sensitive content.
I don't like that Johnny's pretending that both sides were the same here. My understanding is there was never any request like this for anything from the Biden White House. That's my understanding. But
Sides, the Trump White House asked Twitter to take things down as well. But this reporting did reveal what looked like a lot of left-leaning bias in censoring certain highly sensitive content that would be damaging to the left. The big example of this was this New York Post article about Hunter Biden's laptop. Twitter severely censored this, not even letting people DM the link to each other, and making up a thin justification for it later. Now, content moderation.
he's going to clarify this, right? He's both sizing this way too much.
Deciding what is harmful and what should be censored and what shouldn't is a really difficult task. But for a lot of people, including myself, this crossed a line. This was not okay. Though I have to say that Hunter Biden New York Post article was the most sort of egregious one. A lot of the other stuff in the Twitter files was not nearly as black and white. Much more nuanced, much more complicated. The point is, there should be transparency here, and I agree with Musk on that. Okay, but this is once again where we find...
I don't think he read any of the Twitter files on this. The Hunter Biden censoring thing was an internal conversation. There were emails leaked about it. They had a lot of deliberate debate on it to figure out what they should do. And eventually they erred on the side of banning it over the hacked materials policy because they were paranoid that it was a fake story and they didn't want to be the next Cambridge Analytica. They didn't want to be the next, we let something run rampant on our platform and now we fucked the election over and now we're going to have to go and sit in front of Congress for 24 million fucking meetings to explain why we failed to stop what was obviously a fake story. Now, if you ask conservatives for good faith here, they'll never give it to you because conservatives have no good faith. But any reasonable person would look at that story and would at least think, that's a really fucking weird story. It was fair to have questions about it. But the idea that they explicitly took it down because it was a politically biased decision, there is absolutely no evidence of that in any of the leaked emails anywhere. And if any conservatives molding or baby raging or shitting and pissing themselves in chat, feel free to go ahead and link an email for that. There was not a single one where they're like, fuck, but this is going to hurt Biden in the election. That was never in any of the emails that were leaked.
Some strange paradox that doesn't make any sense, which is that since Musk took over, government censorship on Twitter has gone up.
Twitter suspended multiple journalists from prominent outlets, including the Washington Post, the New York Times, and CNN.
But you're skipping the part where it's the government telling them to expect hacked materials while they knew the laptop and contents were real and not hacked. Because there was an expectation for materials to show up anywhere. Yes. You're making the claim that the government knew that there was a specific story that was absolutely true and that they were trying to get ahead of that by telling... You have no evidence for any of that. That's a nice story, but you have zero evidence for any of that, right? Everybody in the country was worried about Russian disinformation because there's really good reason to feel like there was going to be a bunch of crazy shit that Russia was trying to throw at the country during the election. Every reasonable person will admit this. Conservatives are brain fucked on anything to do with Russia, but everybody knew that that was likely and it was already happening. It happens today. It already happens. The idea that the intelligence knew and they were trying to get ahead of this particular story and they were trying to pressure Twitter on this to make them feel like this particular story needed to come down. It fails the smell test in so many different ways. One, I don't remember if... we should look at the emails. I don't remember if Twitter even references the FBI's warning. They might, but there's no direct or explicit pressure. The FBI never emailed Twitter about that story in particular. I think that was an explicit thing that came out. And they relisted the story, I think, like a day later. Like, the idea that this was like some coordinated thing that they just rolled over on, I think like in like a day or two, is just fucking is brain dead. Can we find this? Twitter leaks emails, Hunter Biden laptop thread. Can I just give me a link to the whole thread? Oh, here's Tabby. You're literally your Musk dick suck. Tabby said in a series of tweets that there's no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement in the laptop story. Just give me the Twitter thread. Where's the thread? Or did he delete it because of Musk backstabbing him? fuck? Is there anything, Twitter thread, Twitter files, Matt Taibbi. Do people talk about this, what these tweets were explicitly? Actually, I probably shouldn't be scrolling through these. I'm pretty sure we went through them at the time. Has everybody seen the VTuber response tweets? No, I'm good on that. It should also be a really big red flag from you that that he doesn't talk about what any of these tweets are, right? This is bad writing, but well, it's politically partisan writing, I should say. It's probably intentional. For the Chrissy Teigen thing, did Twitter actually take down the tweet? I don't think they did. Well, wait, can we check? Trump, pussy ass bitch, Chrissy Teigen. I spelled her name wrong. Fuck, I don't know. Somebody can go scroll through and check. On October 14th, 2020, the New York Post published Biden's secret emails, an expose based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases, e.g. child pornography. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who seethed, "At least pretend to care for the next 20 days. Like, if this guy... Oh, the Chrissy tweet is still up. Nice. So, like, if Matt Taibbi was a good journalist here, he would include a link. He would include a link or a picture of what the tweet actually was. But unfortunately, Taibbi's a hack fuck and doesn't know how to do journalism, so he doesn't include any of it. This led public policy executive Caroline Strom to send out a polite what the fuck query. Several employees noted that there was tension between the comm/policy teams, who had little/less control over moderation, and the safety/trust teams. So Caroline Strom emails, "Hi team, are you able to take a closer look here? Thank you." Strom's note returned the answer that the laptop story had been removed for violation of the company's hacked materials policy. "Hi Caroline, thanks for reaching out to us. Per checking, the user was bounced by site integrity for violating our hacked materials policy, adding them here for further insights and guidance. Although several sources recalled hearing about a general warning from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign hacks, there's no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement in the laptop story. In fact, that might have been the problem, ... There was a general warning from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign hacks. There's no evidence of any government involvement. Okay. A general warning, not a specific warning about a laptop story, and it was in the summer, and this was taken down in October, but... The decision was made at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal policy and trust Vijaya Gaddy playing a key role. They just freelanced it, is how one former employee characterized the decision. Hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours, pretty much everyone realized that wasn't going to hold, but no one had the guts to reverse it. You can see the confusion following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Gaddy and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, "I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. Our teams continue to investigate the origins of the material included in the reporting." Trenton Kennedy, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe, and I think the best explainability argument for this externally would be that we're waiting to understand if this story is the result of hacked materials. We'll face hard questions on this if we don't have some kind of solid reasoning for marking the link unsafe. Will we also mark similar stories as unsafe? By this point, everyone knew this was fucked, said one former employee, but the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err. The policy basis is hacked materials, though, as discussed, this is an emerging situation where the facts remain unclear. Given the severe risks here and lessons of 2016, we're erring on the side of including a warning and preventing this content from being amplified. What is the warning that will come up? Well, when you click the link, you'll see the generic unsafe URL message, references spam, malware, and violations of the Twitter rules. Not ideal, but it's the only thing we have. Whatever we do in the comms, this will become a bias claim for Jack pre-hearing immediately. Let's make it clear that we're proactively but cautiously interpreting this through the lens of our hacked materials policy and allowing the link with a warning and significant reduction of spread. Former VP of Global Comms Brandon Borman asks, can we truthfully claim that this is part of the policy? To Ian's point, can we truthfully claim that this is part of the policy, i.e., as part of our approach to addressing potentially hacked materials, we are limiting visibility of related stories on Twitter while our investigation is ongoing? To which former Deputy General Counsel Jim Baker again seems to advise staying the non-course because caution is warranted. New. I support the conclusion. I don't like that he makes it sound like this email is a response to this email, and I don't even know if that's true. God, this reporting was so trash. I can't believe people thought, well, didn't this guy have a reason to be thought of as a real journalist? He did. What did he report on before? I support the conclusion that we need more facts to assess whether the materials were hacked. At this stage, however, it's reasonable for us to assume that they may have been and that caution is warranted. There are some facts that indicate that the materials may have been hacked, while there are others indicating that the computer was either abandoned and or the owner consented to allow the repair shop to access it for at least some purposes. We simply need more information. Keep in mind, compare these conversations leaked, by the way, to Fox News conversations where they're like, we know that she's batshit insane. We know she's fucking crazy. We've checked these materials. We know it's a fucking lie, but we have to hold on to our viewership. Like, we're losing them to Newsmax. Keep in mind the comparison, but Trumples will come down on this a billion times over and lie about what's here, and they don't even acknowledge the Fox News shit. A fundamental problem with tech companies and content moderation, many people in charge of speech know/care little about speech and have to be told the basics by outside. Okay, this is fucking retarded. In one humorous exchange on day one, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna reaches out to Gaddy to gently suggest she hop on a phone to talk about the baggage, generating huge backlash on the Hill re-speech. Happy to chat if you're up for it, best Ro. Gaddy quickly replies, immediately diving into the weeds of Twitter policy, unaware that Khanna is more worried about the Bill of Rights. Hi, Congressman Khanna. Thank you for reaching out, and we appreciate the heads up. We put out a clarifying thread of tweets earlier this evening to explain our policy around the posting of private information and linking directly to hacked materials. The press secretary's account was not permanently suspended. We requested that she delete the tweet containing materials that is in violation of our rules, and her account is restricted until she complies. Oh, wait, so this first tweet was a fucking lie, as per what he even published in here. It's been a while since I've read these. She was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story. This isn't strictly true. This is highly misleading, but okay. Gaddy replies quickly, immediately diving into the weeds about this. Ro Khanna tries to reroute the conversation to the First Amendment. But this seems a violation of the First Amendment principles. If there's a hack, classified material or information or other information that could expose a serious war crime, the New York Times was to publish it. I think the New York Times should have that right. A journalist should not be held accountable. What does this have to do with the First Amendment? Even Ro Khanna's argument here doesn't make any sense. Unless he's just talking maybe principles, not really about like the actual constitutionality of the First Amendment, how it would apply here, but... So to restrict the distribution of that material, especially regarding a presidential candidate, seems not in the keeping of the principles of New York Times v. Sullivan. That doesn't even apply here at all. No one is talking about defamation here. I don't think anybody's spoken about that at all, which is what that court case refers to. I say this is a total Biden partisan and convinced he didn't do anything wrong, but the story now has become more about censorship than relatively inaccurate emails, and it's become a bigger deal than it should have been. Within a day, The head of the public policy, Lauren Culbertson, receives a ghastly letter/report from Carl Szabo from the research firm NetChoice. Lauren, yesterday, NetChoice's Chris Marchese met informally with 9 Republicans and 3 Democratic House staffers to gather intel about Facebook and Twitter and the New York Post story. The staffers hail from the House Judiciary Committee. A ghastly letter/report? They let them know that a bloodbath awaits. Anyway, all this to say that any conservative that claims that like the Twitter files released any evidence of like political bias in terms of the Hunter Biden laptop story, or that there was a pressure from the White House to censor it, all of that is bullshit. All of that is a fucking lie. They've never read the Twitter files.
A number of high-profile journalists have been silenced.
Here are the number of takedown requests that governments around the world made to Twitter in the 6 months before Musk took over. And these are the ones that Twitter complied with. Twitter would fully comply with the government's censorship request about half of the time. The other half of the time, they'd say no. In the 6 months after Musk, the number of requests went up, probably because Musk got rid of a lot of the automatic moderation. But look, Musk's Twitter now says yes to government censorship over 80% of the time. Way more than the old Twitter. Wait, what? And look, the kind of stuff that Musk is allowing to be censored on the platform is really sensitive stuff for free speech. Like, take Turkey, for example. There was a Turkish election last year. The president of Turkey, himself a massive user of state censorship, pressured Twitter to block the accounts of a few people he didn't like. A Kurdish businessman, an investigative journalist, both of them vocal critics of the president. Like, this is like clear, black and white political censorship in an election year. Like, make the guy who is criticizing me go away. And guess what? Musk's Twitter did it. They said yes. They banned the accounts and then said,
And all Elon said was, oh, it was illegal. We had to do this. No, you didn't. Pull your services in fucking Turkey. Man the fuck up.
we didn't have a choice. They were going to shut down all of Twitter, so we had to do it. And then they patted themselves on the back about how they were still trying to fight it. And they're doing so much for battling government censorship and transparency on the platform. But guess what? They did have a choice. This same kind of thing happened before Musk ever came in, and Twitter fought back. In a previous Turkish election, the government tried to do the same thing, censor posts about corruption within the Turkish government. They asked Twitter to take these down, and Twitter said no.
Damn.
They fired back that political speech is among the most important speech, especially when it concerns matters of possible corruption. So, Turkey shut down Twitter. It was down for a couple
Oh, damn, they did it. That was my advice. Bayzed.
weeks while they battled it out in court, and the Turkish government lost. Indeed, they lost because they were trying to censor political speech, and Twitter fought back. There's even more recent examples, like Wikipedia, or Wokepedia, as Elon calls it, refusing to comply with the Turkish government's censorship requests, getting completely shut down for almost 3 years, only to have it be overturned in Turkish courts. A major win for free speech in Turkey, which is something that's in short supply lately. So like Wikipedia, Twitter can do this. They can say no to the Turkish government. If they're actually crusaders for free speech, and if they're actually against government censorship, they would have said no in 2023. Musk's Twitter did this in India too, when the Indian government asked Twitter to censor a bunch of journalists, including an entire BBC bureau and a documentary that was critical of the government and the
So
president.
Elon is just fucking evil? No. I think that Elon is... maybe. Actually, wait. No, this is the evil arc. That's true. I do assume people are evil. Before 2 weeks ago, I would say that Elon and Trump have an issue and that they are egomaniacs. That's the issue. If you say nice things to them and you butter them up, they will do whatever you want. And that's like the most important thing. It's just that you're nice to them and that you make them feel like they're the smartest, coolest guy in the room.
And Twitter complied. Elon, where is your conviction for free speech? Where is your hate for government censorship in moments like this where it really, really matters? But for Elon Musk, he's got a lot of other things he needs to think about. He needs to think about the market for Teslas, who might be buying his satellites or rockets. He needs to be thinking about where Tesla factories might be set up, the market for his electric cars. This is a conflict of interest that gets in the way of his idealistic vision for free speech and his hate for government censorship.
That was 2 weeks ago, and now I think that Elon is committed to fostering chaos in the United States. I think that he appreciates that and he enjoys that, and I think he plays a role in that knowingly.
Twitter used to have a page where they would publish in detail why they would take down any content they took down at the request of the government. And there's this research lab at Harvard that would aggregate all of this for the public. When our story producer Alex went to go look for these government requests from Turkey and India, she found that they no longer were there. This page had gone quiet. So she reached out to the Harvard lab and got this response. Twitter stopped sharing this data starting in April 2023. No more transparency on government censorship. It looks like it's down to the whims of one super rich dude. That is not free speech. That is the antithesis of what this guy said he was going to build. So no, I don't think Elon Musk is earnest about these three things that he said were his motive for buying Twitter. In fact, after looking into all of this, I'm having a hard time figuring out what Elon is earnest about at all, other than his belief that humans have the potential to do amazing things. I do believe that in all of this, that is the one thing that has stayed consistent. But how he's pursuing that goal and that vision in recent years is baffling, confusing, and in my mind, quite harmful to our society. Twitter seems much more like a platform where he can bully the people he doesn't like. He can feed his addiction to crisis and controversy while also showing a childish hypocrisy in his principles and values. But unlike his other ventures, which you can tell when they're successful because they're physics. The rocket either goes up into space or it doesn't. The car drives or it doesn't. This new venture doesn't have a physical feedback loop that tells him if it's doing good.
Do you think that Elon might be under the Kremlin's payroll? It's hard to know at like those scales in terms of like how much money people have. But I would say that in general, I can only speak in like my arena. My guess would be no, because when a guy has that much money, you're going to need more than just money to make him do something, right? Like he's got way too much of a net worth. What would be the point? Now, in exchange for like influence or some other type of like structural or systemic preference or something like that, maybe, but not money. It's not possible. I'll even say that like for people that are like my size, like I'm never in my entire life getting paid off by like progressive victory. Like people will point out like, oh, Destiny's probably black or Israel. Like, no, they wouldn't be able to afford what I would have to charge to even risk that type of messaging. Nobody is stepping up, right? Remember, when you're talking about like congressional bribes and shit, these are to the tune of like $5,000 campaign contribution, like $20,000 campaign contribution, right? To get somebody like me, I guess if you're interested, if you want to buy me off, if you're some country and you got money for it, to get somebody like me to be on board with like fake messaging, knowing that my whole career is at risk, you're looking at like a healthy 6-figure payout, if not 7 figures, right? I'm not selling out and risking the destruction of my entire brand for anything less than $500K, at least. And anybody that's my size or around there is going to feel similarly. There's no way that there's no way that a Daily Wire person or like Steven Crowder is taking a $20,000 payment to totally fucking compromise all their values and lie or whatever. There's just no possible way. It's got the value has to be way, way, way higher. And most people, it's just not a good allocation of funds. Why would you waste that much money on one influencer trying to do that when you just buy bot farms or pay like smaller relevant things or just pay for fake news or whatever else, you know? It's a totally, totally different thing.
Good or working. Instead, he's playing with the delicate, precarious nature of information in the internet age. Something that is already in crisis.
How much did Fox News sell out for, though? Fox News sell out, like in that Dominion case? Probably for tens of millions, hundreds of millions. Remember, the thing that they were worried about was they were losing viewers to Newsmax. That's what they were fighting for. They were fighting for the viewers that they were losing to Newsmax. So it's all the lost revenue of like 10, 20, 30% decline in viewership across all their shows.
And now is being chipped away at by one rich dude who gets off on crisis. And what blows my mind most is that in the process of all of this, Musk is undermining his own dream, his own vision. This is a sentiment.
Does the same apply to people on the right, though? Even if it was discovered that a person was bribed, the fan base would probably just wave it off as another conspiracy in the pile. I mean, it's going to depend on the person, and it's going to depend on like what you're pushing, right? Like, like if somebody wants to have you push a message and you're already like mostly aligned, then you probably wouldn't care much, right? Like if Russia were to go to Tim Pool and pay him off, probably wouldn't cost much at all because he's already like generally aligned on all those talking points. Like if somebody wanted to pay me, well, at that point it's just a sponsorship, because they're going to say like if Pfizer or Moderna came to me and they're like, we want you to promote the vaccines, we're going to cut your check. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, I have to declare like a sponsorship, but like, yeah, I mean, I already believe in this anyway, right? If Sennheiser, wait, they don't exist anymore. They're about like Logitech, right? If Logitech or Audio Technica, who makes this mic? The Re-20. If somebody were to come to me for a thing, but that's just a sponsorship at that point, right? Wait, what the fuck is my microphone called? I thought it was it's just a Re-20. Electro Voice. Okay. Well.
I heard from the employees and colleagues of Elon Musk. They felt betrayed. Like this man pushed them to think differently, to do things that seemed impossible, all in the name of this grand vision of what humanity could be, what we could do as a civilization. And yet in recent years, he seems to be sabotaging that very vision, alienating the people and customers that he needs to bring this vision to life. In my mind...
Do you think there might be a sweet spot where an influencer can be famous enough to have decent reach, but not famous enough to be too expensive to buy? The problem is that like to buy something like that, you need a lot of money. And if you're doing like some subversive thing, it's not like you're selling a product. So you're literally just trading money for influence. And yeah, if you're not selling anything with like, there's no revenue attached to what you're paying this person for, that's a really hard thing to pay for. Now, what do people, when we think about what are people usually secretly paid for? Usually it's scams, because scams generate a lot of money, right? Like the CSGO lotto scam or any crypto scam or pump and dumps. That makes sense. So you would secretly pay people money for that. A lot of money you could, but that's because you're making the money back in the form of a scam. But like Russia paying somebody to spread disinformation, well, there's no direct payout there. It's going to be really hard to quantify. There's no KPIs to track progress on for shipping out 5, 6, 7-figure payments to influencers, you know? You also run the risk of it being uncovered, although you should be able to tumble it through enough other businesses that hopefully that doesn't matter, or the influencer flipping on you but maybe that doesn't matter, I'm not sure.
Elon has exchanged that vision for controversy and division that forces all of us to talk about it. Here we are, talking about it, talking about him. I think a part of him loves that, or needs that. And yet, after all of this, defenders of Elon will continue to argue that only someone like this could be the one to change the world.
To anyone I've offended, I just want to say, I reinvented electric cars and I'm sending people to Mars in a rocket ship. Did you think I was also going to be a chill, normal dude?
And yeah, I get that. The people who change the world aren't normal and orthodox. They're not nice. But I don't accept this way of thinking about Musk today, maybe a couple of years ago. But in recent years, Musk has shown it's his addiction to crisis and attention that is having a corrosive effect on our...
What about blackmail? Not even joking. People do lots of heinous shit to not have their dirty laundry aired. I don't know how blackmail would work on a public figure. Like, I've thought about it a lot, obviously, because I'm of a decent size. I kind of think that if you get blackmailed, it sucks, but I think if you're a decent size and you've thought about it a lot, when you get blackmailed, you basically have to tell the person, sorry, but fuck off. Like, that's all you can really do. Unless the blackmail would legitimately be life-destroying. Like, you're child porn fucker or whatever, or you've murdered somebody they know. Because the problem with giving into blackmail is that you're going to be on their payroll forever, but not getting paid, just getting blackmailed. And you know that, right? Like, if somebody blackmails you, there's no guarantee that they're not going to continue to use that as leverage on you and up the pressure to do more and more and more in the future. You're fucked. That road is like always fucked. You can't do anything, right?
Our society, validating and glorifying ways of acting that rewards the worst parts of us. And instead of saving civilization, driving us further apart.
Yeah, I think somebody tried to blackmail Jeff Bezos. They either had dick pics or pics of him fucking some chick. And as soon as he got the blackmail, he like posted a letter on like Amazon or some shit or AWS. He was like, just so you guys know, some fucking cockhead decided to blackmail me. So if you guys see some Bezos approved dick pics floating around, because some asshole's trying to blackmail me on it. That's it. And yeah, but that's basically all he can do, you know? That one guy you hired to the Georgia voter thing said you blackmailed him. That one guy you hired to the Georgia voter thing. Okay. Doug? Okay. Do you think Clarence Thomas is corrupt or he falls under the basically a sponsorship? I don't know enough about the the Clarence Thomas claims, like the boat rides or whatever. I don't have a strong, I don't have a strong opinion on it. I don't even understand this. Destiny, I enjoyed your promise she will never fucking leave me speech. When have I ever said that about anybody I've dated? Wait, what? What is it? What is that speech? Hold on. We gotta do this. Fuck me. Talking about Melina and how you're comfortable being in an open relationship. Okay. She's coming back to me at the end of the night speech, I think. Oh, because I don't give a fuck what my partner does and we're not hanging out or whatever? Oh, okay. Does that... that means I know that the relationship's gonna last forever? True. True and based. I did think that. I said that a lot. I said that about all my relationships. All of them should last forever. Didn't that relationship end a while ago? Yeah, like a year ago. Conservatives are obsessed with it. I think a lot of conservatives have a secret cum swallowing or cum eating fetish. I think that, especially the gun YouTubers, I think I mean, it's guns, right? I think they probably think about consuming semen pretty often, and then they live that, like, fuck! They try to live that fantasy through me. They project it onto me. Okay, hold on. If I get a 940 plus, okay? You should be rooting against me right now. If I get a 940 plus... Biden's not leaving, okay? Forethought, losing his mind right now. It's a close one, though. That's a close one. That's a really close... He might stay in just because of how close that was. Good luck. Wait, okay. Let's do the time guesser real fast. All right. Oh my God, this is an easy one, guys. This is a famous guy. This is a famous picture. It's Bill Gates. Oh, and this had to do with these are the Watergate files with Nixon. I don't know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. We're doing LA area 1962. Let's fucking go. Oh, okay. Olympic high jump gold medalist Dick Fosberg coming back to cheering crowds in his hometown, Medford, Oregon, after the 68 Mexico Summer Olympics. You know what? We take those. I saw the mountains. I was like, oh, California. Car, you know, I think it's like 60s. I'll take it. We take that. We take that. Okay. Utzenbell. Personnel planning. We are in Germany for sure. Absolutely. Show me a car. Oh, I can just tell from the fashion. I know so much about everything. Why is this all in English? Wait. What the fuck are we? What the fuck is going on here? Oh no, it's some cuck Olympic bullshit. Fuck. The fuck? What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Whose kid is that? Okay. Are you ready? We're gonna go wild. We're gonna go wild. We're gonna stay in the 60s. We're gonna stay in the 60s. We're gonna stay in the 60s. Okay, but if I get this right, it's amazing. Okay? We're gonna stay in the 60s, and we're gonna say New Orleans. Okay? Or Baton Rouge. We're gonna say Baton Rouge. Good luck. Fuck. God damn it. Fuck me in the ass. I got fucked. I deserve to get fucked. People crossing a street in 70s Amsterdam. How the fuck am I supposed to know that? Why? Why? I've been to Amsterdam. I don't remember any place that looked like this. It's all boring fuck rivers. Or circular bullshit. I don't remember seeing this cucky, gross, stupid shit. 70s are the bell-bottoms era? Oh, yeah. I knew that. Okay. Fuck. God damn it. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my God. This is the wall between East and West Germany. Maybe. You think? It could be. And these are all the Nazis turning in their old helmets. Again, in the 60s. Bro, I have no idea. I bet it's like fucking Austria. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to say 1970. Good luck. 1990. Oh my God. And it actually was. I kind of had the location right in spirit. 1990? What the fuck? The wall was built in 1990? Wait, really? I had no fucking idea. The wall only existed for like 1 year? How cringe. That's like the weakest wall ever. Street store recently next to the recently fallen Berlin Wall, selling uniforms from former soldiers. No, it was built in the 50s? Wait, now I don't know who's trolling or not. Oh, fuck you. From 61 to 89. Fuck you. It did fall before the Soviet Union, though. That's good to know. Unbelievable. Okay. Okay, we can do this. Let's go. Let's do 2 strong ones. Oh, I love this place. We've got British tourists. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is going to be a 9,500 plus. Wait a second. It's not. Have I seen these before? I want to guess like Quebec City instead of Montreal. What the fuck? Where am I? Hello? Okay. But why do I feel like there's no way I saw these? I would remember. Stupid fucking anchors. I feel like I might have, but I don't know. Fuck it. Let's do it. Boom. 20. It's going to be like in England. 2016. 15. Let's go. 9,067. Fuck, it was Quebec City. Fuck. But still, okay. We take those. We take those. We take those. We take those. All right, let's fucking go. One more big 9,001. Our score is so bad. Oh my God. I don't think I know where the United Nations is. I don't know where the European Council is. Wait, I have no idea. Wait. No, I do know. It's Brussels, right? Isn't it? Am I making this up? This is Brussels 2020. Let's fucking go! Let's go! Let's go! Who's in that picture? No clue. Bro, I did horribly. Oh my God. Zelensky's in there? Yeah, maybe he snuck in. Okay. Sorry, I had to bully somebody online. You debating that retard VTuber? If they wanted to, sure, but there's no way they'd want to do that. Okay. Wait, sorry, hold on. Somebody's trying to trigger me. It's not going to work. I am untriggerable. Unless we're playing League. True. Okay. I'm gonna go brush my teeth, put my things in, and then more reading. Fuck! 1 sec. Wait, the VTuber tweeted at you. This person's retarded. Ooh. Okay. All right. Wait, what is Nate Silver betting on? On whether or not the 13 keys will predict the presidency, I guess? Okay. Have you seen anything by Dr. Vinay Prasad? He made a really good video on the Fauci hearing last month and coverage on the vaccine rollout. I'm a newer viewer, so maybe you have already heard it. Nope. Fauci tries to sell his book and in the process is dishonest about his errors. Uh-oh.
Welcome back to the channel. Anthony Fauci testified yesterday in front of Congress, and it was a riveting hearing. Largely, he denied the more serious accusations that he tried to impede or cover up any discussion of the possibility of lab leak. He denied the gain-of-function research that was going on in the Wuhan Institute, and he didn't admit getting anything wrong at the time. He basically said that they did the best they could with the information that they had, and any decisions that, to us, in retrospect, seemed completely foolhardy, like the 6 feet social distancing, he distanced himself from. He gives himself 6 feet of distance. He didn't do it. The CDC did it. Well, he's had a lot of defenders in the media and on social media. The New York Times has an article that largely vindicates him on the lab leak, that he didn't do anything wrong there. And Ashish Jha on Twitter has praised him, saying that some of these more egregious errors, like 6 feet distancing, were made by the CDC, not Anthony Fauci, and he did his best to urge them to correct that issue. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into these topics. Let's see what the real assessment, I think, of his performance is. First, I gotta say, no one gets more favorable media coverage than Anthony Fauci. I mean, it's truly with reporters and aristocratic politicians. They even have their policies called Out Podcast and David Sachs' Reflections on Anthony Fauci, driving like the All In Podcast. Ashish Jha, of course, he became the COVID czar because of his tweets in favor of the Biden administration. He was basically auditioning for them online, and it's no surprise that he tries to defend Anthony Fauci further. So let's talk about these issues. Number one, Wuhan, lab leak, EcoHealth Alliance, funding gain-of-function research, the FOIA emails. Anthony Fauci has a deputy named David Morans who, in prior congressional testimony and a number of emails that were requested through FOIA requests, basically admits that they worked with the Freedom of Information Act officials to prevent these emails from being discovered by Republican congresspeople who are investigating this issue. That's actually a big problem, and I think technically illegal, because the purpose of Freedom of Information Act requests for federal agencies, the purpose of congressional oversight of places like NIH, is that the NIH is accountable to the public for the decisions they're making. They're not allowed to use Gmail servers, as Mr. Morans indicated that they were doing. They are...
If you want like a real quick, here's a heuristic to disregard somebody as somebody you shouldn't listen to for media, and I'm going to use it with this guy, thank God. He's got some time to redeem himself. If somebody ever presents somebody doing what seems on its face to be an obviously evil or immoral act, and they never explain that person's rationale for doing it, and they just leave it up to interpretation, where the interpretation is obviously it's negative, then the person probably has nothing of value to say. So let's see if he says, well, why did he try to block a FOIA request for the emails? Or is it just because they were trying to hide top secret, deadly information, but they're trying to murder Americans? Let's see if he gives that side of the story. Let's see.
Required to save and record these emails about NIH business. In one instance, they misspell the name of Christian Anderson, his last name, using a $sign in a way to try to evade the search filters that get used for FOIA requests. Somebody later is going to search through emails and type Anderson. They're going to miss that because it has a misspelling in it. And then he talked about how he has worked with the FOIA official to try to minimize these emails from being turned over. And that's a big problem. I mean, if anyone else were doing that, if that were being done by someone in the Trump administration, the media would be outraged about that. And yet here it's largely indifferent and silent to that. I find that so telling. Anthony Fauci says that this guy didn't directly report to him. He's trying to distance himself from the congressional hearings. That's so disingenuous. It was clear. This guy talks about meeting Anthony Fauci on his doorstep and telling him things in person so that they won't be able to be discovered by Congress. That's a problem. And we have to acknowledge, whether or not you believe the virus leaked from a lab or didn't, their conduct around it was egregious and unjustified. Not only did they go around saying that they were 100% sure it didn't come from the laboratory, they actively suppressed any dialogue or dissent on that topic.
Okay, yeah. I don't know who this guy is. I would never trust him on anything. I'm good. I'm Gucci on that.